Hello aviators, how are you today? My name is Magnar Nordal. I'm an ATR instructor, and today I'm inside a simulator for ATR 72600, and I will want to show you the Instructor Operating Station called the iOS. I'm seated behind the pilots and I can control everything in the simulator. I have two big screens and a smaller panel with the most useful functions, easy at hand. On top, I have a total emergency stop that requires everything to be reset, so that's absolute emergency. I have a motion and control load stop. That means if something goes wrong with the motion or the control loads are the forces on the control column and rudder pedals. I can select motion on. I have control loads, that's for the flight controls, so that the correct feedback. Communication and light controls, so I can switch light on and off. This is the ambient blue light, and this is the ceiling light I keep on. And then I have some fast access functions, a total freeze, a flight freeze. When I select this off, then the simulator will run. Engine quick start, very nice if you have an engine failure in the training and I want to start engines, just a quick push and the engines will start again. Rapid align is for the gyros. Visual enable, that's the visual systems we see outside. And I can mute the sound if I want to talk directly to the trainees without headset. I can put the simulator straight to takeoff. I can make a total reset of everything. I can prime smoke, that theatrical smoke, before we prime it, before we have a scenario with smoke in the cockpit. So they learn how to use an oxygen mask. And this goes how difficult it is to communicate and even read checklists. External power, GPU on and off, and I have a chronograph. I can start and stop and reset. So that's a very nice panel. The rest happens on these two screens. So let's jump into it, shall we? I'm recording only one of the screens. And the first thing I will do when coming into the simulator is to define the airport. And that's position set. Now it's at Dubai. I can also choose other airports from the menu, or I can type in ICAO code for any airport around the world. I'm happy with this one. I can change later on. Runway, I can choose runway news. It's good, so I leave it. And I can then choose gate taxi holding flight level 100, 10,000 feet, or flight level 250, 25,000 feet. That brings me up in the air. I selected gate, so we are parked at the terminal. And I can now continue further and set up the aircraft. Stereo fuel weight, I can choose any weight I want. Maybe the weight is 18,000 for this lesson. And maybe I have 2,400 kilos fuel. And center of gravity, 26 is a typical value. I have external power here, the same as we had on the shortcut. Now we don't need external power. Let's take it off again. We have doors. Now you can see we have 3 doors open. I can close them. So we're ready for flight. And I have also rapid align of the gyros, for example. I can provide ground air condition, hydraulic connections. I can put on wheel shocks, so I have to remember to tell the ground crew, please remove shocks. I can put in jacks to simulate flight. That's what engineers we like to do. Then I go to the active environment, QNH, the pressure, I select 1008 today, temperature in Dubai, it's 32 degrees. The winter is coming, usually it's way above 40 in the summertime. Wind on the ground, let's say it's 150 at 10 knots. That's a shortcut. Execute. And it shows wind at older altitudes. I can choose, or I can select standard wind profile, then the wind at altitude will increase, which is typical. I can select intensity of the lights, the roughness of the runway, and the surface condition. Turbulence, maybe we have 2% turbulence today. Is it low level, or clear air, or storm? No ice, we can remove ice on the airframe. Precipitation, I will show microburst, wind shear. So you learn, for example, if you have a takeoff, before we rotation speed, it will become an increasing tailwind, so you stop accelerating on the airspeed indicator. During rotation, you get the increasing tailwind. And during takeoff, passing 100 feet, and the vertical wind vectors go bananas. And we can choose light, moderate, or severe turbulence. Usually use moderate. And you can also have on approach and on ILS approach. That's a really rough one. A very realistic scenario, and which means you have to go around. Okay. Back to the environment page. We can set clouds and visibility. It can be hazy, so maybe we give it 20 kilometers today. I can put on some clouds, for example, a few clouds. The cloud base should be higher than 200 feet, let's say 2,500. And the top is given by itself. I can also have preset conditions, non-position approach, Cat 1, Cat 2, I show it later on the runway. And I can also select the blowing sand. If it's cold, I can put on a winter scenery. I have a marshaller, but it doesn't show up on this image. Oh, there is. Yeah, communication. The cabin attendant can call to the flight deck. And as an instructor, when we use headset, here's the instructor's headset, I can talk through intercom. I can talk only to captain, only to first officer. I can transmit through VHF 1 and 2, like air traffic control will do. And now the simulator is fully set up, but maybe they have a failure at startup. It's a menu of all the systems. So maybe they have a starter fault, no ignition, starter doesn't disengage, hot start, getting too hot, indication failure, etc., etc. So that teaches them to really observe the start process because it's very automatic, but you have to abort when you see something is wrong. Okay, I think I will put us to, we need a pushback here, tail to the right, marshal disappeared, now we have the tow truck, and I will just get everything ready for a pushback. And depending on the procedure in the company, they will have feathered propellers or they will run in auto, which means they generate some forward thrust. I will set the condition levels for now. complete. Okay, parking brake on. Tow truck moves away, and also we have a mechanic with a gear pin is walking away outside your picture, and we are ready to taxi. I will move the aircraft straight to the holding position. That's on push and confirm. We are now holding at 1 to right. And maybe there is traffic here. So let's select traffic. And there's an aircraft departing here. Remove flight freeze. And here he goes. That's an Airbus 330. So now the trainees must remember to wait some time before they take off. That's part of that exercise. I think we are ready to take off, so I had to just put the aircraft to takeoff position, which I can do here. And we are lined up on the runway. It's a beautiful day, a little hazy only. And I will go through different visual scenarios. Every time I move to a new position, the aircraft will freeze. So I select flight freeze off. I can now go to the environment and we can look at different weather. We have KVK, that means unlimited visibility, and blue sky. If we have a circling approach, visibility goes to 5 kilometers and the cloud is at 600 feet. I can modify the base by clicking here and select maybe I need 800 feet, for example. Non-precision approach, 600 feet and 2.5 kilometers. ILS category 1, 550 meters in fog. ILS category 2, 300 meters. And some companies fly category 2 ILS approaches in this visibility. We also have category 3 A and B, which doesn't comply with the ATR because this aircraft is not approved for category 3 approach. And a minimum takeoff visibility 125 meters. And you see that's not much. But with proper training, you're allowed to do it. Okay. That was the takeoff weather. Then I will go to the map. There we are. I can change the zoom. It will draw a line. I have different options to display here. I can put on a spider web so I see the bearings. I can display a background map. So now I see the sea, the terrain, etc. And I can also insert some bad weather, like a storm. Let's select this storm and put it here. Maybe a little further out, like that. Execute. And yes, ahead of us, we have storm clouds. And the trainees can put on the radar and avoid the worst part of it. I can zoom a little in. And you can see the red cells. They produce very strong turbulence in the simulator. You really need a seatbelt. It's really, really rough. So therefore, you learn to use the weather radar to avoid this. Okay. I want to move the aircraft to another position. I put us on 3 miles final. And we are on 3 miles final on 1 to the right at Dubai airport. And we have good visibility, just the storm clouds. I can now show some weather effects. For example, we can have light rain. It looks like this. I can increase the medium. It gets very blurred because water on the windscreen will give this effect. But we have windshield wipers. Put them on. And you can see better now. It's more clear. But you barely see the runway. We are now at 3 miles final at 900 feet. Reduce back to light rain. So now the runway is wet, right? I will remove the rain. And the runway is now wet. I can dry it up with this menu. And on this menu, I can also have ice, snow, wet rubber, which makes it very slippery. Excellent. What else can we show here? Yeah, we have something we call sleeve. And this is on this menu. And I can change our position. It's the fast, slow, northwest, forward, left, right. If I want to move to the up of the runway, let's move back to the runway news. I can move forward. You see the poppy lights? They are 2 red, 1 red, and I'm a little offset, so move a little more. Like that. So now I'm too high, and 4 white, I'm too high, not stabilized. I can also change my altitude up and down. Oops. And suddenly I'm way too low. I have 4 red lights. Move a little up. Still 4 red, too low. 1 white, 2, 3 white, 4 white. Okay. I can also change the heading of the aircraft. So I can turn it to the right. And we will get a view of downtown Dubai. There we are with Burj Khalifa on the top. It's very tall, 2,800 feet. So if you fly into it, let's move forward a bit faster. And if you're flying like this, you will get warnings, right? Okay. And when they're flying, I can also choose to speed up the ground speed to 4 times. For example, to save some time, they are a bit far out, they completed all the preparations for an approach. I can just speed up the ground speed and save a few minutes. Okay, let's now have a look at a generic airport, which means it's a standardized model you can put to every airport in the world. And I will choose an airport in Norway. I have to enter ICAO code, Echo November for Norway, and Tango Oscar, Torp, also Sandefjord, and some call it also Oslo Airport. Execute and execute. Reference runway 18, I will choose the other one, 36. And then I move the aircraft to 3 miles final and answer yes. And the simulator will reposition. There we are on 3 miles final. I will move the simulator a bit closer so we can see more of the settings. Then I use the sleeve for position. I will move forward. Okay, this is Torp Airport as a generic airport. And Now I can modify it. I go to active environment, generic scene config. I disable the automatic generic airport and it disappears. I start with the runway length and I can have 1500 meters. First I had to define where should the terminal building be. Now it's on the right, that is wrong. I need it on the left, like that. Maximum runway is 4,500 meters. It looks like this. I will choose 3,500. That's close to reality. I can also vary the width of the runway, 30 meters. 60 meters, but we need 45 at this airport. Excellent. Then we have approach lights. Now we have some quite easy ones. Maybe I want this, that's a full set. Visual aid, we can have puppy on both sides. We can have puppy on left only. We can have puppy on the right, so we can make it just what we have. VASI, that's the old approach system. I put it back to puppy on both sides. That looks nice. Runway markings, they have international. They look like this. They have British. And something they call JCAB. Okay. We have the terminal can be at this position, close to primary end, or further down the runway, like this. For torque, it should be close to the threshold. Let's see, there it is. And I have different terminal buildings. This is European, and in the United States, it looks like that. We go back to Europe. And taxiway right. Then we have taxiways on both sides, but I don't have that at this airport, so I remove it. And then we can look at, we can have parallel runway, if that exists, like that, but I don't have this at this airport, so I disable it. Terrain type, hot crop plain, cool crop, grass, scrub, tundra, desert, snow. Pretty good. To get snow, I had to correct the temperature. So I will select -5. And then I have winter scene. I have to wait. Okay, now it's winter in Norway. And precipitation, we can have light snow. Looks like a Christmas card. We can select medium snow. No big difference. Heavy snow. Now it's very wintry. You can still see the approach lights. And we can have hail. I think there's a sun effect on that. We can go back to light snow. That's very scenic. Like this. Excellent. I will take it away. And now we go and reduce the visibility. If we're flying a category 1 approach, the visibility is 550 meters. I will see nothing from here, we are too far away. But I can select a non-precision approach. Now the visibility is 2,500. There it is. That looks pretty good for this approach. We can improve the visibility to 5,000 meters. We see up the entire runway. And of course, we can also set dense fog. ILS Cat 1, 550 meters. We need to be on the runway for that. Okay, I think that looks good. So that is all for this time, and big thank you to the members of this channel who support me with my work. And to all of you, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day and happy landing. Before landing checklist, cabin crew advised, landing gear 3 greens, flaps 30, power management takeoff, TLU low speed checked, icing AV light on, external lights on. Before landing checklist complete. Clear to land. Passing 1200 feet. Now dual coupling. One stabilized.
$500.
Don't amp it off.
$200. $100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
No reverse. Okay, fix the brakes. Full of pitch.